Hey, what's going on? I'm just getting started. I don't have my glasses on, just realized. Kind of need those. How's it going? ZR3, how's it going? Man, you guys are in here early. I love it. Phantom Way. Hi, Tim. Have you ever configured cron jobs in a PHP container? I don't know that I have. Whoa, right off the bat. Hey, Malachi. Malachi28, thank you so much. That was awesome right off the bat. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, that was sweet. Thank you so much. Wow, thanks for the sub, really appreciate it. Phantom Way, yeah, have I ever configured cron jobs in a PHP container? Is this a Docker container, LXC container? I'm assuming you mean inside of a Docker container. Got me stumped the best way to do it. Yeah, let me know what you think, or which one it is. What's up, Homeland New? How's it going? Raising? How's it going? Hey, it's hey from Algeria. It's a bit late here, 1 a.m. Wow, you guys stay up late. I stay up kind of late too, not that late. Yeah, for sure. Hey, well, welcome. Go to bed. It's late. Well, unless that's not late for you. Man, you guys are awesome. Notification squad, Docker container. To be honest, I haven't. To be honest, I honestly think you would, yeah, I'd have to think about that. You'd either have to build it. So a couple things you can do, just thinking like totally off the cuff. You could, let me turn this down a little bit. And my mic's super loud in my headphones. Let me know if it's too loud for you guys, because man, it's killing me. That's a little bit better for me. Let me know if it's too loud for you. A couple things you can do. Sounds fine, thank you. So, couple things you can do. One, if you don't own the Docker container, which you probably don't, you can try mounting, create like an FS tab file and mount it to where their etc FS tab is and see if that'll work. If not, I'll have to see. But what are you trying to do? Because this sounds like something you might be able to like schedule outside of that and orchestrate that rather than do it inside the container. Yeah, curious what you're trying to do. If it's PHP, I have no idea. The only thing I've ever done with PHP is WordPress or any CMS like that, and haven't even done a lot with that. But yeah, let me know what you're trying to accomplish. ZR3, same in Portugal. Wow, and you guys stay up late. Let me see here. Homeland New. This has been an eventful weekend. Made some great progress on the VPN front. Nice. Decided to go with PyVPN in WireGuard mode with some additional UFW rules. Nice. In front of it to make it a bit more secure. Awesome. Yeah, tell me more about that. What do you think about, so PyVPN. So is this like your VPN concentrator or like your VPN, I guess, appliance that's running on Raspberry Pi? I don't know much about PyVPN. And WireGuard, yeah, I've heard of that before. I know what WireGuard is. HomeLab New, currently focusing on creating a full disk encrypted Raspberry Pi to serve one of the VPN servers. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So this is going to be a VPN in front of all of your an entire server, so that all of that server's traffic is encrypted and going through a secure tunnel. Probably to some anonymous VPN, I assume. Interesting. That's interesting. That's one way to do it. You know, that's one way to do it for sure, if I'm understanding that. It sounds pretty awesome. Nick Rowe, 19, finally caught your stream. How's it going? Good. Welcome. Yeah, thanks for joining. Glad you're here. Doing good today. Pretty normal Tuesday here. Just work all day and think about what I want to work on after work. And then so I have a laundry list of stuff I need to take care of tonight, but I think most people do. But yeah, doing good, doing real good. How about you, Nick? How you doing? Phantom Way, trying to have minute jobs that run PHP artisan schedule run on per minute basis. I want it running inside the container and not scheduled from the outside the container. Not sure if I know what I'm doing. That definitely sounds reasonable. You know, if you know, so is this your, so one thing I didn't ask, PHP artisan schedule run. So is this your container, your code, or someone else's? Because if it's yours, you could just write the code like whatever a set timeout is in there and call that over and over and over. But I'm sure it's super easy doing it the other way. Just being able to probably modify or mount an FS tab and layer it into that container if you can, and then just replace the one that's in there with a scheduled cron job. I don't know. It's got me interested in now. It's got me intrigued now. I'm gonna write this down because usually container. Typically, I build my own containers. So for me, if I did it in Node or JavaScript, I would just do a set timeout loop and then do something every whatever minute. That's what 60,000 milliseconds. So yeah. But if it's someone else's, that's interesting. I haven't thought about that, but I can definitely look into it. But yeah, tell me more about this container. Oh man, that F4 UX Focro. Oh, Focro. I like it, Focro. Sorry. Got this on in the background at work. Love your YouTube videos. Hey, thank you so much. Took me a minute to figure that out. That's probably Focro, I think. Like your name, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Super helpful. Home Lab New, yeah, it's basically a bit of software which makes it really easy to configure a VPN server. It even makes QR codes which you can scan with the WireGuard client for Android, iOS to import configs. Super easy. Yeah, sounds awesome. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a fun project. Home Lab New, I'll send a link into Discord. Thank you very much. Yeah, I would love to check it out sometime. Nick, good stuff. I'm well. YouTube videos are fire. Thanks. I'm just documenting what I like. Hopefully other people like it too. And hopefully it's not too deep in some areas. I'm trying to, I'm trying to mix it up, but there's a path I want to blaze down. And after I blaze all the way to that path, end to end, then I'll be able to mix it up a little bit more than I am now. But again, I'm just trailblazing a path all the way to this end goal, but I know what it is, but I haven't said it. I'll say what it is, because then I'll have accomplished something that I want to accomplish. But anyways, yeah, I appreciate it so much. Phantom Way, I will try your suggestion. I will look into it. Cool. Yeah, let me know too what the container is too, or if you have the Docker file or whatever. Yeah, post it in Discord or somewhere. We'll check it out for sure. There's actually a Docker channel in our Discord too, so that would be awesome. Takano, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Nick Rowe, are you still using Traefik? Have you heard of Nginx Proxy Manager? Runs Docker, easy to use setup. Yep, yeah, I have. I've heard of Nginx Proxy Manager. I am still running Traefik because Traefik gives me a lot of nice things in Kubernetes. And so I know that, not everyone's running Kubernetes, but Traefik also does a lot of nice things for Docker Swarm, even for regular plain old Docker. They actually did, I feel like, a lot more for, Docker or Swarm than Kubernetes. Because once, basically, I'm oversimplifying it, but I feel like they do less because Kubernetes has this, this idea of an ingress already. But that being said, it still does a ton for me. And so, yeah, I'm still using it because I get Let's Encrypt. So I get Acme, Let's Encrypt client. It configures my ingresses for me, load balancers, and does the service discovery. So it sets up host names and stuff like that, or DNS entries within Kubernetes internal DNS. And other than that, it's super simple. It was hard to figure out, but now that it's going, boom. It can do wildcard certs too. I should set up wildcard certs. It's like one additional configuration. But yeah, it's super nice. And then does SNI. So you probably know what SNI is, but it can inspect the header of SSL for a certain certificate and still route. So that's cool. So that's how, I think it's able to route to different SSL paths or host header headers host requests based on the header, even with SSL. So I enjoy it. It's fun. I haven't found anything yet for Kubernetes that does what I needed to do, all those things. And plus, it was hard to figure out. So I'm going to stick with it for a little while. I'll be honest. But yeah, I have heard of Nginx Proxy Manager. Looks awesome. Like, I'm familiar with Nginx in general as a reverse proxy. But yeah, I'll have to look into it some more. Phantom Way, I have a Docker file still troubleshooting why the job's not running. Awesome. Yeah. What's the Docker file? What image does it pull? Like, they're in the Docker file, or say image something, and that's what Docker image it's using. Yeah, let me know. Home Lab New, thrown in the network channel. Yeah, check it out for sure. That sounds super interesting. Sounds like a nice little weekend project or something. Gimli, Theone, hey man, just watched your YouTube video about your home lab and video about 20 things you can do with containerizing and virtualizing. Got a lot of ideas, but do not know where to start. Yeah, it's a good question. Start with something really simple. I know the really cool ones sound awesome, like, hey, Pi-hole, or setting up VPN or something like that. Those all sound awesome. But start with something simple. Get some quick wins in first, because then you'll be like, okay, you'll kind of build up your knowledge from there. And other ones are still, cool too. But, when people hear, oh yeah, Pi-hole running in Docker, sweet, virtualizing, pfSense, awesome. Those are a little bit more challenging. But yeah, glad you found it. If you haven't done any virtualization, you could start by building a Proxmox server and go from there. But yeah, let me know. What sounds interesting to you? What's the first thing you're going to start? Phantom Way, add cron tab file from the cron directory. Yeah, that's the place I was going. Add cron tab. Okay, so these are Docker lines, I can tell. So the comment is add cron file from the cron directory, and then you have a Docker command, add cron tab etc cron d hello cron. Give execution rights to the cron job, run. So this is the Docker run command, and then it's going to schmod it to 0644. etc cron d hello cron, create the log file. So this is the Docker file where they're actually building that Docker image, and they're building up, building this Docker image before you can consume it. Let me know what the Docker file, does it say, does it take any environment variables or anything like that? Because sometimes you can pass an environment variable or a volume. A volume would be a really good one. Like if it would take a volume, and you could pass it like a cron file or a cron d, or not cron d, but a file with your cron config, that would be super interesting. And that's the route I was thinking of going first. Unless you owned it. If you owned it, I would say just go crazy and just write the code yourself in PHP to call it over and over and over. Twitch messed up formatting. Yeah, they're not gonna format anything. You've seen what they've done with messages and threading. They don't care about code syntax. Post it in Discord. Yeah, that'd be sweet. ZR3. Yeah, for sure. Gimli Theon would like to make a custom router with firewall and Pi-hole, but it seems so difficult. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The Pi-hole one is a little bit more complex. The router one is kind of complex too. But if you already have virtualization going, you could start and play around with pfSense or OpenSense or Untangle or any of those, even without cutting over and switching over. You can create a whole entire virtual network, and then put that in between, your virtual network from there. So that's what I do when I go to evaluate new network appliances. What I do is I spin one up. So let's say I want to check out OpenSense. So if I want to check out OpenSense, I'll spin up a VM, give it 2 NICs, and then all virtual NICs, nothing physical. Spin it up, install it. And then what I do is I make the WAN port of that NIC the actual LAN IP of my physical network or a virtual network. So basically, pfSense has no idea, or OpenSense has no idea. It thinks it's connected to the internet, but really it's NATed. It's a DHCP address from my internal network. And then I'll just move one of my virtual machines that are there onto the LAN NIC of, or LAN network of that virtual appliance, and then connect to that from there, and then remote in that way. And then I'll even like, sometimes I'll just expose the UI on the public IP, because really it's public, like don't do this, you know, in production unless you have things in place. But when I'm testing it, I'll expose then the public NIC on OpenSense or pfSense, and then from there, I can remote in to it and check it out. So that's kind of how I tinker with network firewalls, even before I even, you know, commit to one. Is like I said, spin it up. WAN port is really a LAN port internally. It's on my internal subnet, and then create a new network, a virtual network in Proxmox, and then move one of my VMs over to that virtual network. And so now he's like double natted behind, you know, my main firewall, and then another firewall is a client to another firewall. And so yeah, there's plenty of things to do and tinker with if you don't want to go all in. For sure, even on Pi-hole, you can spin that up on a VM or a Raspberry Pi, no problem. If you just want to tinker and don't want to mess around with Docker. For sure. So yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent on that, but I was just, some people ask me too how I you know, have my things set up or how I test them. So, but yeah, Billy Quizboy. The big thing Nginx Proxy manages provides, it's easy, let's encrypt renewal. Sweet, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Traefik does that too. Traefik does that too, for sure. Traefik gets, you know, your certificates and will renew them too, because it's using the Acme certbot, I guess, client underneath the covers. It spins up another container. But yeah, I'll definitely take a second look at it, because I'm, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like Traefik was hard to set up and grok, and it might be hard to maintain. So far it's been running excellent, but yeah, I kind of dread if something goes wrong, you know. It took me hours just to figure out how to set it up. I dread debugging it. Hopefully it's nothing I ever have to debug, but you know how that goes. But yeah, good to know. Necro PVN, how's it going? Hey, I'm trying to figure out why Proxmox vGPU feature won't work on a Grid K2. I can pass it through, but I have to deal with having two screens, a VNC, the main, oh man, and virtual display. That's interesting. That's interesting. So I don't know much about a Grid K2 or just like an enterprise GPU card. I thought that there had to be something built into the operating system that could actually divide those GPU cores up. And maybe Proxmox has it. I don't know. Like I said, I've never dealt with them. But I thought like ESXi, you know, Hyper-V, like all the enterprise commercial ones had like a layer to where it could divide those cores up. So virtual machines can take advantage of them. But man, yeah, don't know. I don't know. I would love to know your thoughts. You're way ahead of me on that, because I haven't dabbled in the enterprise GPUs yet. I've been doing consumer grade and passing them through that way, and it's one-to-one, you know, and now you have one-to-many. But I thought the operating system, Proxmox or whatever your hypervisor is, had some kind of software to help manage that one-to-many relationship, some kind of abstraction, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you're seeing besides the two screens and two displays, or if Proxmox even supports it, because I'd love to know. Nick Rowe, still tried to Kubernetes. Okay, I think HA Proxy does a lot of that stuff as well, for sure, and can be installed as a service in pfSense. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. That sounds like it would simplify a ton of stuff. I've done very little HA Proxy, only a tiny bit, and that's because the only HA Proxy stuff I did, I think it was on like Smoothwall. I always forget about Smoothwall. I should throw that one in there when people are like, and IPCOP. Like I've tested so many network firewalls, I forget what their names are. But Smoothwall and IPCOP are another one I ran for a long time, Smoothwall. But I think that's where I first started playing around with HA Proxy stuff. And then my Rancher 1 instance used HA Proxy, and I was trying to do like tons of rewrite rules, and it was so tough. But nothing against HA Proxy, it's just my knowledge of how to write those rules. But yeah, that's good to know. Wonder if it could simplify stuff. Super easy, sounds super easy to install and configure. least according to what you're saying. Check Docker and Discord, definitely will, for sure. Let's see, Home Lab Anu, Gimli Theon. What equipment do you have at the moment? Not that you need anything special, but just curious. Takano, I'm doing good. Just been messing around with some stuff and hoping to finally be able to choose the rack doors soon. Yeah, or close. Yeah, so this journey started like, I think a month and a half ago. And it all started with getting the MikroTik switch. And because of that, that threw off the balance of your whole entire rack. Which forced you to install new rails, and then you couldn't close the door. So yeah, be nice once you get that done, huh? Pugmaster, that looks like a newer one. Hi, how's it going? Good. Hopefully you're doing good. Takano just got to drill some holes. Awesome. And then you'll get the door on, huh? Yeah. Pugmaster, nice webcam. Thank you. This is yeah, it's a nice webcam, or it's a decent mirrorless camera. So yeah, I use a Sony A6400. It's an actual mirrorless camera by Sony, and it's what I film all of my YouTube videos with, and it's what I live stream with, and I take photos with it and do video with it. And it's all around awesome camera. Like it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife for me now. I haven't really specialized too much, like with the camera. Like I know there are nicer cameras out there, image stabilization, but when I went to go upgrade my camera, I was like, well, 99% of the time it's going to be on a tripod, and so I don't know. I'm kind of frugal too, so I was like, I'll go with this one, and I'm so happy I did. Like so happy I did. I spent a little bit of money on lenses, but most of them are third party, not Canon brand. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. You ever curious on how to set up a webcam or use a mirrorless camera with as a webcam? It's super easy. Just get a cam link or some kind of capture card, an HDMI, and you're good to go. And then tons of tweaking, obviously. But yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. And it has this flip up screen too, which is super nice. Like, kind of looks like I'm super far away, but I'm using a wide angle lens, so I can actually like touch the lens right here. Looks like my arms are super long. I mean, they are long because I'm pretty tall, but not that long. Anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, thank you. Gimli, I'm new to virtualization containers, but I have a lot of equipment from Ubiquiti and saving up for a new PC, waiting on the new Zen 3 line. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. I think I'm interested in seeing what it is. I hear my dogs going crazy, but they're not in here. I was expecting to see them behind me wrestling. But yeah, I'm excited to see, Zen 3 line too. Gimli. So Tim, when you say something simple, I'm new to this subject. So a nudge in the right direction would be very cool. Awesome. Yeah. So, let's see. So you want to know like totally where to get started, but you're not sure where. So then my question is like, do you have a PC running any kind of hypervisor yet? Or do you have, are you doing any kind of virtualization at all? You say that you're new to virtualization containers and you have a lot of, I guess, hardware networking equipment, but do you have any virtualization at all? If you don't, I would highly suggest just starting. I use Proxmox. I think it's awesome. It's not for everyone, and there are better things out there. But pick up a hypervisor and give it a shot. And if you want to do some exploring of like kind of what virtualization is like, that's a good way to get going because you're actually doing it. So you have a couple of options. Like if you have an extra PC laying around, like an older PC, you can install a hypervisor like Proxmox. You could even do ESXi by VMware, run the home version just to kind of explore XCP-ng. Like there's a lot of options out there. And then you can get a virtual server going. And then from there, you can try to virtualize things like virtualize an operating system or virtualize anything going on there. Also, virtualization is not swapping SD cards in the Raspberry Pis. No. No, sorry, just saw that. No, I forgot what I was saying. I kind of remember, but yeah, for sure. Good one. No, but that's an awesome way to just mix and match. Like, hey, one day I'm running whatever Raspbian, and then I want to run RetroPie. Yeah, RetroPie is on one of my memory cards. I don't touch it because it runs perfect. So I'm just like, nope. I'll find another memory card. So I kind of do that too with some of mine. But anyway, going back to hypervisors or how to get started. If you don't have another PC, hypervisors. Okay. A virtualization engine that runs as a virtualization engine as a hypervisor. It's a abstraction that runs. So say you're running Windows, and say you want to run Linux on Windows, right? You would need some kind of hypervisor for the most part in between that operating system that's running your guest operating system, Linux, and your host operating system, Windows. And so that's the path I was going down too, is that like, even if you don't have another PC to put together to start virtualization, you can do this on the machine you're on now. You could download VirtualBox. So VirtualBox, it's a different type, but it's still a hypervisor that you can run on your machine now on this machine you're on, unless you're on a mobile device, and then install VirtualBox, and then from there you can install Linux or Windows again, or whatever you want, and then test and play with virtualization that way. And so, I've run, I don't even know, man, going back to like, I forget what type of hypervisors those are, but yeah, I've run everything from VirtualBox. Wow. Thank you so much, Nick Rowe. Thanks for the sub, appreciate it. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it, thank you. But yeah, so anyways, like if you don't know where to start and you don't have any additional hardware, totally just check out VirtualBox. It's pretty awesome. And you can start virtualizing on your own machine and kind of get a feel for what it's like before you do it for real. But thank you so much. Oh man. And go to again. Thank you for the follow, appreciate it. So I hope that kind of answers some of your questions. If you're brand new to virtualization, I'd say install VirtualBox on your machine right here and play with it that way, and you'll kind of get a feel. And so what I like to do is for people new to virtualization, install VirtualBox on your machine and then install Ubuntu Desktop. Just keep it nice and simple. And then if you're running Windows or running Mac, you'll launch VirtualBox, you'll install Linux, Ubuntu Desktop, or whatever desktop you want. I'm just gonna keep it simple. And then you can run them both at the same time. And then I think that's how people start to realize like, oh, I think that starts to unlock some possibilities. It's like, oh, okay, like I can really take advantage of all of my hardware with virtualization. And then containerization is where just, for me, it's where you exponentially get the benefit back of a lot of your hardware, or you're able to downscale because you're running so lean and so efficient. But if you're new to containerization and virtualization, start virtualization, because like containerization will kind of blow your mind. Maybe not. But yeah, so sorry I went off so long on there. I should write up a blog post sometime on my blog about things people can do if they have no idea what I'm talking about but are interested. It seems to be most people that I interact with on a daily basis, because I like super tech stuff, and not everyone does. Present company excluded, obviously. So anyways, how are you guys doing? Nominal 4, I'm doing fantastic, doing great. DZ, how are you? Good to see you again. VirtualBox, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah, so you can do it on, you can do it on the machine you're on, another machine, and you don't have to commit. That's the great thing about VirtualBox. You do not have to commit. You can play with it. If you don't like it, you uninstall it, whereas if you go all in with the virtualization server, you got to reformat the machine. So yeah, it's super fun to play and get started with. That's why, I ran a couple of my services on VirtualBox on a Windows machine for a couple of weeks while I was doing some migrations, and I was just like crossing my fingers, like, hope this works, and worked totally fine. Not the greatest performance, but still. Hello, those terms, hypervisors. Yeah. We talked about that. Takano, this all started when I got tired of using the consumer grade stuff and having stuff everywhere. Then I found a rack for cheap, and then included a server. Crap, but just replaced the board and components, which then got me to buy the MikroTik switch, and from there I've just grown. Yeah, for sure. And I remember seeing the rack that you got, and then the problems you ran into. So yeah, it's super. It's nice to see it coming along for sure. NecroVPN, there we go. VirtualBox is a Type 1 hypervisor, and Proxmox type, or vice versa. Yep, been a while. I agree too. I think Proxmox and ESXi are Type 2s, I think. And then you're right, VirtualBox is Type 1. And so Type 1s are nice because you can install them right on your own machine, uninstall them if you don't like them. Type 2 is usually, it's running at a lower level and has direct access to the hardware, and it's usually an OS. So that's at least what I know about Type 1, Type 2. JV Peak, hey, how's it going? Even on some mobile devices, you can do that. Nice. I have a Linux VM on my phone that I fire up whenever I need to connect to a screen to HDMI. Good to know. That's awesome. So you're probably running Android. Made all the Apple phone, iOS phone users jealous, because I guarantee that's Android. Only because like it sounds so awesome, and Apple wouldn't let that awesomeness happen on their phone. No, their rules, their playground, their game. I could be wrong, but I think it is, without looking. Necro, VirtualBox is Type 2. Oh, we mixed it all up. So Type 1 and Type 2. Proxmox is Type 1. Yeah. So we got it mixed up. But yeah. Thank you, DZ. Thanks for looking into that. Takano, also have never had such a pain in the butt problems compared to Bluetooth on Windows. 2 adapters, one had connection issues and one would always fail to pair. Then a new one from TP-Link, which randomly cut off audio, but I didn't think even it's the adapter is at 20 feet away, I get audio. I think it's just Windows. Yeah. I'm there with you because I think, I think I've had problems with Bluetooth on almost every operating system except for, I hate to say it, iOS or Apple products, because like Bluetooth on there, pretty solid. I've done Bluetooth on Windows for years too, and it's just like, oh my gosh. I guess it's a little different on Apple products too, how they have pairing and stuff like that, but it seems pretty solid in general. But yeah, man, Bluetooth on Windows, it's actually a lot better than it used to be, because like, I don't know, in the Windows 7 days or even before that, XP days, it's like every Bluetooth adapter had their own software and it wasn't even built into Windows at all. And so you're like, hope they continue to build this driver. And so now you have this weird, I mean, it's like network cards did the same thing too back in the day. It's like, they had their own, network card driver and then network card configuration utility. Well, Bluetooth had that too. And so I thought Windows made it a little bit better, but I don't know. I haven't done Bluetooth in a long time, like where I've paired directly to a Windows machine. But yeah, not fun for sure. Gimli, oh, I see now. I've tried Docker Desktop, worked with VMware and VirtualBox before. VMware and VirtualBox were quite simple. Hey, yeah, you're on a roll. You're ready. You are totally ready. This sounds like this weekend project coming up for sure. Go to again. Or it's go to again. Hey Tim, quick question about what's the best way to set up Let's Encrypt to manage cert via Rancher for my apps. I just had a video on it. So if you're running Rancher, for me personally, I use Traefik. We were talking about it earlier. So I use Traefik because Traefik does the configuration of your reverse proxy. It's kind of what mostly it does. Does a service discovery stuff for your apps or your workloads. We'll set those up properly. And then it has plugins that are already mostly pre-configured. The plugins are there, they're not configured, to get certificates for you. And you can set them up a few ways. I set them up doing the DNS challenge, DNS check. And so, yeah, I mean, I have a video on it. I tried doing it the hard way, which was, okay, let's get the Let's Encrypt container and go from there. Actually, it's from linuxserver.io, and they actually call it Let's Encrypt, but I think Let's Encrypt told them, nah, you can't do that. It's funny. If you go look at linuxserver.io, I think Let's Encrypt said, no, you can't call your container Let's Encrypt when it's not Let's Encrypt. And so they're changing it to swag. And it's something, it sounds cool, but it's something like secure web access something. I don't know. Cool acronym. Anyways, long story short, I tried to go that route first because sometimes I don't like to, I mean, like the DuckDNS stuff. Sometimes I don't like to be that tied to the platform or the service that I'm on. And so I was like, I'm going to do this the Let's Encrypt way. I'm going to do it, you know, plain vanilla, maybe Linux server.io, but I'm going to do it that way. And it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was so hard. And then I was like, hey, Traefik has this awesome, you know, feature built in as long as you get some things configured to do a lot of this for you automatically. And so like Traefik, you know, lives outside of Rancher, lives outside of Kubernetes. Like it can be used for Docker, plain old Docker, can be used for Swarm, can be used for a lot of things. And so I went that route, and it seems to be, to me, the easier way. A little more complex. There's some magic in there, but I'm okay with the magic on certificates. You know, I can validate them, I can verify them, I can look in the logs, I know it's working. But usually I don't like magic, but this is kind of magic to me sometimes. But hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps. Go to again. Thank you, NecroVPN, no problem. The lines are very blurry though. Proxmox is QEMU KVM on Linux, which is, well, it's hard to say what it is. It does get confusing, and who's using what, and you know, yeah, I think it's a lot of it's all comes down to they're using a lot of the same stuff. DZ, just chilling and grilling. Yeah, listening and watching the stream on the big screen. All right, how big is it? 72, 60 inch? Awesome. Yeah, well, hey, glad you're here. Enjoy the big screen. Hopefully you're staying cool. It's super hot in most of the country in the United States. It's even pretty warm here in the Midwest. But yeah, JV Peak, yep, Android. I knew it. I knew Apple wouldn't have that. That wouldn't fly with Apple. And plus, you know, Android gets all the cool stuff. They can do all the cool stuff. Ticano, I've done the Linux on Android several times, and it does work super well. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, that kind of blows my mind. That's like, you know, I guess it's like, you know, Linux on Android, but it seems kind of reversed because Android is part of Linux. So but that's super cool. You can do that for sure. So you can what? Spin up your own Ubuntu server on your phone? Because that seems awesome. I don't know how I'd use it, but I probably would if I could. I do have an older Android phone here, actually. JV Peak, I had to pay, I have to pay 30% of my performance to Apple. Yeah, tell me about it. Even you're not excluded from the 30%, let alone Epic, right? Especially with Samsung DeX. Nice. Oh, Blue Soleil. Yeah, I had a Blue Soleil. I think I don't know if it's Soleil or Soleil. I think it's pronounced Soleil. I had one too, and I agree. They were pretty awesome as far as Bluetooth goes. They had some pretty decent software too for Windows, but I had a Blue Soleil way back in the day. It was like a little weird USB pen, white, and had a blue LED wrapped around it, and I thought it was so awesome because it had a blue LED on it. But yeah, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Thanks for bringing it up. HomeLab New, I wish Linux would support the modes of operation that let you use Bluetooth headset and mic and not just have potato quality. Yeah, that boils down to like Bluetooth profiles. And and that's a black box to me too, because I've been in that boat a few times. And sometimes like Bluetooth will just drop down to whatever, a different profile or a different quality. And you're like, why does this sound like FM radio from across the street? You know, I think sometimes a voice picks up, like if you're listening to like high quality music sometimes, and then like voice kicks in for whatever reason, then like the combination of the two is just like, I'm going to go to some super low quality. But yeah, good to, yeah, I don't know. Bluetooth's kind of a black box to me. I've written a little bit of code for Bluetooth for auto pairing, but you know, I was using libraries and it was like, follow this example, like hello world. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of low level for me. Gimli, oh, believe me, Bluetooth issue exists to an Apple a lot. Okay, yeah. I've been pretty fortunate though. Okay, so I'll spill the beans too. Okay, so I have Beats Wireless Pros, you know, an Apple product. That's my reference point. And so, you know how, you know, Apple products compare. They're just like, it's magic. The cool thing is, I won't go on too much about Apple, but one thing that I thought was really awesome is that they actually sync your Bluetooth pairings to iCloud, which is awesome. So, you know, on my iPhone, I synchronize my Beats Wireless Pro. Boom, my MacBook already knows about it. Apple TV already knows about it. That's awesome. Is syncing your pairing across the cloud to all your devices. And in the same regard, I synchronized my Xbox controller to my Apple TV to play some games on Steam to stream them there. And sure enough, my MacBook now knows what my Xbox controller is. So awesome. So awesome. Anyways, I won't gush too much about Apple, but that's one thing I think they got right, you know, is just syncing your Bluetooth pairings. Because like, if you have a Bluetooth device, most likely you're going to want to connect it to all your devices at some point in time. Or maybe not, but it's a nice option that it's there. But anyways, I'll stop gushing. They've been pretty evil lately. Home Lab New, sounds like there's a story behind that. Oh yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think it's coming. It's a brewing. It's a brewing. Techno, the app I've used for Linux on Android is the Termux Terminator. What am I saying? Termux Terminal Emulator. That's a lot of words in there. Andronics and a lot of custom words in there, like play on words app on Play Store, which gives you a one-line command to install Linux. Then with that, you just connect to your phone using a VNC app. Oh, that's crazy. That is crazy to think about. So just install Linux on your phone and then you VNC into your phone that's running Linux from another machine. That's awesome. That is awesome. Gimli, it's like, I like this new world. Found a hobby probably. Yeah, hey, join the club. This has been my hobby for years and years and years. You know, this has been my Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and on nights and days for a long time. It's just this stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm new to YouTube, but I've just been doing this stuff for so long and it's so fun. It's so fun. And there's so much tinkering you can do. And so many things you can figure out and play with. It's super awesome. Techno, so far, I've had no problems with the Bluetooth on my S20. It's been pretty solid in general. Awesome. Good to know. DZ, you're saying to go to again. If you're using pfSense for your firewall solution, you can also use the Acme plugin to manage and update Let's Encrypt certs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're doing it, and I honestly feel like that's one of the best places to do it. Like as close to the edge as you can do it as possible is better. Well, it depends. But for me, I wish I could terminate SSL on the edge because then I can inspect that traffic afterwards, going back to the containers and going back to the web services. So poo-poo on XG Firewall, they haven't done it yet. And so that's one thing where it's like pfSense, it's awesome because like the nice thing is if you like I said, if you terminate SSL and decrypt it on the edge, you can then inspect that non-HTTPS traffic for whatever you want, for viruses, for whatever, signatures, and you can do deep packet inspection on that before it gets to your containers. So you can stop that. And so, I have to terminate my SSL on the load balancer inside of Kubernetes, which is okay. But I can't inspect that traffic, but yeah, anyways, yeah, for sure. Like if you can do it on pfSense and it's super simple, yeah, go for it for sure. I love it. For me, XG Firewall, they're not having it. I don't know why. We should all write them an email or we should look at the request they've had open for like 4 years where the product manager says they'll take it into consideration and then like totally went under the radar for like 4 years. Anyways, I don't hate them that much because I've been using their firewall and it's pretty awesome besides that. Takano, along with Chrome OS, no problems on that either, except the odd time. Oh yeah, just fails to connect. Yeah. Chrome OS, yeah, super awesome. Great idea. Decent execution, I think. Hey, no, Naleo, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, Chrome OS, I'm super intrigued. I have used it a little bit, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. The whole Android on Chrome OS kind of blows my mind. It's like they're, at some point, I feel like they're gonna cannibalize one of their operating systems for the other. But yeah, super awesome. I don't have any Chrome OS devices, but I've had friends and there was an x86 version you could get too. That was interesting. Let's see here. Along with Chrome OS, no problems. Thanks for the, whoa, what is that? Oh, thanks for the Hyperlost. Oh, this is the rewards that they're handing out. Awesome. JV Peak, it was super helpful when I forgot my laptop and went to our local hackerspace. I could just prepare all my CAD models from my phone, Bluetooth keyboard, mouse, and boom, it's a desktop. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome to think about. But you had to, so did you use the screen or did you VNC into it from another machine? But yeah, that's awesome. That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants, and I think Microsoft has tried to do it. Apple still hasn't tried. Android's trying. But everybody wants a full computer in their pocket. I do. Give me, if I could take this whole entire gaming PC that's over here, put it in my pocket, and it's my phone, you know? Hey, that one guy from IT, hey, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it. I'm that other guy from IT. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Glad you're here. Thanks for subbing. You know, if I could take my whole entire, PC here and then just plug in USB-C or whatever adapter, wireless, whatever, and it just is my PC, that's like the dream. I think for me, that's the dream. Right now, I have, you guys know it. I mean, part of the reason why a lot of us have home labs is just to get back to our good stuff, from our phone or from remote or from our laptop or from anywhere in the world. But yeah, it would be awesome. I'm still waiting for that. Sign me up for that. I'm in line for that for sure. I want my whole entire PC. And it doesn't necessarily, Microsoft's not going to do it. It's not going to be Windows. But I would love it. And, I don't know. I get super excited about that kind of stuff because, I don't know. I feel like we should be there yet. We were promised hoverboards like a long time ago, and all we got are these like boards with wheels. Can I at least take my computer on my phone? I'll take that instead. Save the hoverboard for like another 20 years. Anyways, I'm rambling about hoverboards that really aren't hoverboards. Gimli, anyone having issues with Twitch? The screen just went black on both TV and mobile. I'm not. I hope it's not me. Looking at my drop frames, sitting pretty good. 0 drop frames, 0%. CPU's only at 5%. Man, OBS is so efficient. Well, it's my NVIDIA card. But anyways, I'm not. I usually have my stream open in something else so I can kind of tell, but I don't know. So you'll have to let me know. Lemon Blade. Yeah. Oh, how did I get Lemon Blade out of there? I'm seriously need to get new glasses. Lino Blade, I like it. Lino Blade. Lots of smileys going on there. Stream is high in here, thank you. Takano Samsung introduced something like that, just saying using your TV Samsung account only works on only Samsung devices. They've been working with Microsoft a lot recently and wanting to bridge the gap between their phone and Windows, similar to what Apple has done with Macs and their iMessage app. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and it's super weird too because like Apple now has kind of been teaming up with Samsung a little bit too to do their screen sharing and mirroring on Samsung TVs. Everyone likes Samsung. I love Samsung. I'm a huge fan of Samsung. I only talk about when people are like, hey, what kind of SSD should I buy or what kind of TV should I buy? And it's always Samsung. Actually, I have Samsung washer and dryer now. But anyways, I love them. Great company. They have great products. And that would be super interesting to have. To be able to just like, I don't know, beam my whole entire desktop up to some TV. But you gotta have a phone that's powerful enough. I feel like it doesn't have to be x86, but something. I know there are tons of ARM apps, but people building apps right now for phones are, at least not yet, you know, mouse and keyboard friendly. I'm sure that will change. Sure. I mean, It's been changing for Mac apps too, or iOS apps, because the Pro. It's because Techno Tim, not Twitch, partner and streaming at 1080p, so transcoding option to devices. Yeah. Sometimes they give it to me, sometimes they don't. I think last stream, someone said, hey, thanks for 360p. And I was like, I didn't do anything, you know? And it's just Twitch. They have an algorithm and I think they try to determine how many people are gonna join the stream, and then they'll dynamically give you transcoding options. So last time they had them and someone said thanks, and I was like, no, thank you, because you're the reason why they're on, is because I have enough people in the stream where Twitch says, hey, this guy needs some transcoding options. So yeah, yep. But yeah, you're right. When you become partner, you get them. It's guaranteed, which is cool. Free BSD gang boot. Frequent Labs, Freck Labs. How's it going? Takano, one limitation of Andronics, that's so hard to say. Andronics? Andronics? Is that it can only run ARM. Yeah, this is exactly what I was saying. I was just saying that before I got there is, yeah, it's, you know, it's going to be what, ARM 64, ARM v8, Arch 64 Linux programs. Yeah, so some compatibility and some processor compatibility too, but it'll get there. I mean, as long as people use it, yeah, it'll get there for sure. Along with that, it doesn't include full Linux kernel either. It runs proot environment instead of it. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks for, man, these emotes that are coming out are awesome. The hype scrape emotes, man, these are awesome. That tiger is so awesome. That one guy from IT, yeah. Oh, from it. Oh gosh, I totally ruined it, man. I thought it was from IT. I thought it was an acronym. I thought like information technology. I thought, hey, I'm also a guy from information technology. You see where my head is? Oh, so you're that one guy from It, like Stephen King It. Oh man, okay, I'll remember it now for sure. Like Pennywise the clown. That's who you're talking about, maybe. If that's who that one guy you're talking about is. Interesting. Yeah, thank you. I think internally it uses RDP, which is a bit faster than VNC. I'm a huge fan of RDP. I used it on one monitor and you had laying around here. Awesome. Takano Samsung DeX is similar to that. You can buy and use the desktop system by plugging it into a monitor. Alan Molson, that looks like a new name. I just want a cheap, fast bandwidth to stream everything on my various screens. Yeah, I do too. And I want everything to work with everything. I want companies to stop battling for exclusives. Meanwhile, all the consumers suffer, and we have to choose platforms based on, you know, what we own or what we want to own. But yeah, that one guy from IT, nope. So I bet that was a nope to information technology. So is it Pennywise? Is that who you mean, Pennywise, or is it like, or like an extra, like from It? Were you like an extra in the movie It? I doubt it. Maybe. And is it the new It, or is it the original one, or is it the book? Like to know. Takano and IVNC directly into the phone and use DeX to view it. Or if I need a portable Linux machine, I just use it on the phone screen. Yeah, jealous. I'm getting jealous over here. Yeah. Buying a Samsung TV from Costco soon. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Samsung TVs. I don't know. I had a plasma like forever. I had a plasma TV forever from Samsung, and it just like would not die. And then one day it just had a black bar on it, and I'm like, there's no getting rid of this. And I watched like 15 videos on YouTube, took it all apart, did like all of these things, wiggled all kinds of stuff, and yeah. But otherwise, I'd still have my plasma TV from Samsung because that was awesome. Like, plasma in general, even though it's like a portable heater, like the black, the contrast on there is so great. Like blacks on plasma TVs is like the absence of light rather than glowing black. But you guys know that. But it was so good. And then I put it in my alley, and before I could go back in and put a free sign on it, it was already gone. I was like, oh yeah, I love my alley for getting rid of stuff. Samsung started selling food, and if I recall, their first electronic was a rice cooker. Interesting. It's good to know. I'd probably buy the rice cooker. Actually, I have my own rice cooker. I have a Japanese one. It's pretty awesome. Takano, Samsung is huge in ways you would not expect. I totally agree. A lot of companies are, even like Mitsubishi in Japan. Totally. I mean, like we think cars and motorcycles. No, they do everything. You know, it's like Johnson & Johnson here, 3M. Like they're everywhere, and you just don't know it. Same with food companies too, like General Mills. They're everywhere. They own like 50% of every brand out there of packaged goods. Phantom White F5 refresh to switch to 1080p. Okay, yeah, man, they need to give me some transcoding options. I apologize, but I'm in protest of them not giving me transcoding. We should all write them. Yeah, Twitch partners always get encoding, and for affiliates, they sometimes get it. And yeah, I agree. It just depends. It depends, for sure. Gimli, Techno Tim, no stream was not out from your side. I suspect the store maybe having something to do with it. Maybe. Oh yeah. It's Pie Bomb. It's Pie Bomb. How's it going? Good to see you. JVP, funny thing was, I was used to Apple USB-C to HDMI adapter for MacBook, so thanks Apple. Yeah. Yeah, like don't get me started on MacBooks. Like, yeah, my dongles have dongles. Totally. It's, you know, my dongle, one dongle's plugged into another dongle, and it kind of drives me crazy, but I get it. Like everything's going to go to USB-C eventually, soon, maybe. But, you know, it just kind of stinks when someone goes first that you're using. You're like, dang it. But I'm kind of okay with it. As long as it stays clicky and grippy, you know, for the life of the device, I'm okay with it. Because, you know, even though I have 4 USB-C things plugged into it, I have 3 monitors, USB, power, video, you name it. Everything's going through there, except for network. F5 on the phone. Just kidding. Restart that, maybe it fixed. Encoders. Yeah, I can't press F5 on the phone. I didn't know you were on the phone. Penguin Airlines, how's it going? Good to see you. Split Second MC. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, good name. Split Second MC. It's a new name. Good to see you. Hey man, do you know much about RAM speeds on Intel boards? I'm kind of confused. Yeah, RAM speeds. Yeah, that's a kind of open topic, especially with Intel boards. But I mean, RAM has a clock speed. It can run at certain clock speeds, up to a certain clock speed. You can overclock it, depending on. So if you have a motherboard that has like dedicated channels for RAM, they can run in dual channel, I think, or single channel mode. I don't know the exact question you're asking. That's a wide open question. But for sure, RAM has speeds and motherboards support a certain speed. Then you can overclock them. And sometimes if you put them in dual channel mode, or they're in whatever channel mode, quad channel, whatever the channel mode, they'll run faster. So let me know a little bit more what you're thinking. Maybe I can answer it. It's Python. Have you ever used Grafana? Absolutely. Yes, I have. So I've used Grafana for a couple things. I used it for a while. So I used to run Kong from my API gateway, and that had that would dump my logs or my metrics to Grafana. And yeah, I used it there. And then, in enterprise, it's everywhere. So everywhere in enterprise, they're using Kibana and Grafana to track metrics and KPIs and all that stuff, and API metrics. So yeah, I've used it quite a bit. I didn't do the chart configuration or setting it up, but most of the time, Grafana is awesome because you can actually import charts, for services that you're using, which is awesome. Like there's an easy way to share out charts and graphs, which I think is fantastic. And so I've always been kind of a consumer of it, or the developer who's wired up or written metrics to send to Kibana or Grafana, or both. You're talking about Grafana, but I've done both. And so I've consumed data coming in, data coming out, and I've pushed data going into it. And then I've also been the consumer, me as home lab person, like want to track metrics on whatever, and looked at charts and configured charts that way. So yeah, I've had a little bit of experience, definitely not an expert. If you were like, hey, configure this chart for me, I'd be like, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to Google everything. P4, Par 4 Noir. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. But yeah, tell me, what are you interested in Grafana for? Like, what are you thinking of using it for? Takano, Samsung has their own city in Korea called Samsung Digital City. Along with that, they make tons of tanks and stuff for the military. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, big companies like that make so much stuff. And like I was saying, just, Japan, same thing. Mitsubishi, and here, companies you think about, Boeing or anything like that. I mean, Boeing's not like a Samsung for sure, but because Samsung does a ton of consumer, but also, enterprise, and then also government work. So yeah, it's crazy how big Samsung is. I totally agree. JV Peak, I'm so grateful that my ThinkPad just has HDMI, Ethernet, and regular USB. Yeah, I have an old ThinkPad and I love that thing. The ThinkPad that I have, I don't know, T41 or something. Yeah, I love it because it just keeps on ticking, and I don't use it a ton. But it's basically right next to my rack downstairs, my server rack, and if I ever need to work on something downstairs while I'm working on that physically, I just go on that. Yeah, I love it. It's, put a little extra RAM in it and replace a solid state, and it just gave it. I put in a solid state drive, a little extra RAM, and it gave it like another 4 or 5 years. The thing is awesome. And ThinkPads have the best keyboards on a laptop, hands down, hands down. If you haven't used a ThinkPad keyboard, try one. They're fantastic. I mean, because they're from IBM, who basically, IBM made typewriters. I mean, they've been in the typing game for a long time. But then they sold that off to Lenovo, the ThinkPads, but still, same keyboard. And they're great to type on. At least that's my opinion. Split Second MC, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Sorry, I'm like crushing water, but doing a lot of talking and extra loud too. Skip the rice cooker is a secret. Home Lab New. Well, I tried to set up the BusyBox to decrypt the Raspi disk remotely, and no joy. I think I forgot to tell to actually decrypt, and now the Raspi is stuck in a room where the family member is having an online meeting. Oh man, then you just sneak in there. You go ninja style on there and go in there and grab it. We're cut off, boys. You totally go ninja on it. DZ, Grafana is awesome. If you use Dell iDRAC, you can pipe the analytics to Grafana with nice visuals. Yeah, and that's awesome too. Good to know. I haven't done that yet. So maybe I'll have to set up mine. My iDRAC is crusty though. I don't know. I have iDRAC 6. Pretty crusty. But I will look into that because that's good to know. Because like right now, the only way I see the iDRAC metrics is if I go into it and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'll check on it every now and then. But I should more. And then I could set up alerts. And SD card, totally a lifesaver. Yeah. On your IBM? Yeah, totally. Gimli, Theon, Apple needs to work on dual display support or super wide angles. Support is terrible, even third-party solutions. As a web dev, I'm quite used to dual displays. I hear you, man. Hey, and I have triple displays, and I work on a Mac here all day long. So where I'm broadcasting is also where I work. And I have 3 monitors, and then I have, USB-C. So I'm a dev too. USB-C, and then dongles. And then, so I have 3 HDMI ports going out. The last update that Apple released for Catalina, I don't know, it's maybe Friday, totally fixed all my display issues. Like I was betting we would land on the moon before Apple figured out how to do multi-monitor support. I was like, no way. And finally, I think they finally realized, because Windows has figured this out forever, and it's super simple, right? You get, each monitor will tell you a serial number. You remember that serial number, you remember its position, and you remember its orientation. And when you plug in all your monitors again and you see those serial numbers, you set that orientation and position. Oversimplifying it, but it's how it works. Apple has not been able to do that for years and years and years, at least on Catalina. And I think I had it before Catalina. Well, Friday, I think they finally fixed it. So if you haven't gotten the latest Mac update, that fixed all of my display issues. Now I can actually reboot my Mac. Like every time I rebooted my Mac, I was just like, okay, my middle one's no longer my middle. It's on the right. It's no longer portrait, it's landscape. And so I'm like, doing my mouse like this, trying to figure out and reconfiguring my displays every time I reboot. Anyways, I digress. Well, at least from the norm, but I'm going deep on Apple. But yeah, so try it again. You'd be surprised if you did the last Apple update. It's going to take you 40 minutes or whatever. And when they said 40 minutes, I was like, no way. This has got to be like an under promise, over deliver. No, it is 40 minutes. It's PyBomb. You gonna make a tutorial on Grafana? I find your tutorials always nice to follow, and I'm kind of confused how Grafana works. Maybe. Possibly. Like I said, like I haven't been like a huge. I've done Grafana before. And I don't create them myself. Like I said, I'll find charts. So I mean, high level, how it works, Grafana on its own doesn't do anything. I mean, you can make charts, but it needs data. And so you got to get that data to the chart, well, into a database that then Grafana can read. And then you map plots, or you map, entities from a chart to those data entities. And then you got to create your chart, your visualization. And what type is it? Is it bar? Is it line? Is it stacked? Is it pie? And so what I found is, I think exactly what DZ was talking about earlier, is just like find a chart that's already made, like one for your iDRAC if you have iDRAC, and follow the instructions there. And then use the chart that's already made, because they'll do all the data mapping for you. So I'm oversimplifying it, but I mean, maybe I can, like hosting Grafana. So I've been on like a self-hosting kick lately, less hardware. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, but maybe I will sometime for sure. But also appreciate, I think there was a compliment in there too. So yeah, do appreciate it. Where was I? When I start scrolling and get lost. Let me see, the bad one is about think bad. I still got lost. Oh, there we are. Penguin Airlines. Oh, I build from Elastic Stack at work, but I'm going to be playing with Grafana at home soon. Nice. I like this topic. All right. Yeah. Data visualization. It's super hot. I mean, just data in general is super hot. Yeah. And this whole ride over the last 4 or 5 years with like everything tech, especially in software development, has been awesome. Going from, just explosion of data, which means a lot more APIs, which means break down all those monoliths and create, microservices, which are smaller APIs, and then build UIs. And then on top of that, we need something to, visualize all the data. Yeah, this is the last 4 or 5 years in tech, and especially web development, has just been awesome, for sure. It's PyBomb. I wanted to use Grafana for a dashboard for my home lab. Stats about Plex server, data usage, internet speed, disk space. Yeah, you're going all out. And I right now I don't have any common place to look at all of my visualizations. I rely on the ones that are built into the products. Like, Pi-hole has one. And Plex is trying to do it. But I use Totally for it. And they have great visualizations for stuff like that. Internet speeds, or, how much internet or bandwidth am I using? That's in my network firewall. Disk space, that's a huge one, because I have disk space spread out everywhere. But my biggest, single, drive or volume is obviously in my FreeNAS. So yeah, that's pretty ambitious. I'm just going to say it right there. That's pretty ambitious. Because you never know, one, if you can get the data out of those systems, unless you install an agent that can then pipe that data somewhere else, and then it's going to be a lot of mapping too. But yeah, I wish I had a unified dashboard for all that stuff. I'm surprised one doesn't exist for all the services most people use. It's pretty ambitious, but I think if you put enough time into it, you can definitely do it for sure. Just hopefully they expose the APIs to get the data out. You know what I mean? Split second MC, Techno Tim. So I bought a Core i5 10400 PC, and the motherboard I got was a B460. Says it supports up to 266 hertz. My RAM says it's 3200 in the box. Will the memory? Yeah, it will. Yep. I mean, it should. And an easy way to do that is pop that stuff in, go into the BIOS and then like go in, I don't know if it's in advanced or whatever, see what your RAM clock speed is set to. Like if your motherboard only supports up to 266, I think it will be clocked down, so it'll be running a little bit slower. But I mean, I don't think that's even noticeable. But then on the other hand, maybe on your motherboard, you could overclock, you know. So I don't know. I don't know enough about that motherboard, but you might be able to overclock it. Who knows? There's a XMP or XMPP profiles or something for RAM, RAM and CPU. And so sometimes those are nice to play with and you could overclock stuff. But yeah, but to answer your question, it should be fine. It should clock down the RAM speed to 266 hertz or, you know, 2666 hertz, and you should be fine. Like it should still work, no problem. Penguin Airlines, the only bad thing about ThinkPad keyboard is the function. Yeah, I know. Yep, I agree. I totally agree. Like your left pinky, bottom left, should not be the function key. It should be control. Yeah, I agree with that. I forgot about that. It's been a while. Yeah, and then they had like the mini, the mini control. Oh yeah, that's a good call. Because I think the function key used to be upper right or something like that. But yeah, good call. Gimli Theon, is Hitachi also a company like Samsung? I think so. Yep. I think they make excavators too and lots of other stuff. Yeah, there's so many, you know, big companies, especially, you know, even in the United States that, you know, we as consumers only know like their consumer products, but they're everywhere, you know, and they've been doing it for a long time. Hey, Hernane? Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Homeland New, you guys are, is it just IPMI? I think you're talking about Grafana, but yeah, let me know. Kind of honestly, super glad I got the TP link EAP. Wi-Fi has never been better. Nice. Yeah, you know, TP Link is another company where I'm like, they're starting to make some awesome stuff. I mean, they have for a while, you know, and I was kind of, you know, I saw them starting to dabble in IoT and they're, you know, they've probably been doing it for a while, but I started noticing them, you know, when I was buying IoT stuff like switches, and I was like, hey, I can buy one Wemo switch, or I can get this 3-pack of TP Link switch, you know, plug-in adapters that are IoT and Wi-Fi. And I was like, I'm not sure. And now it's just like, they're totally going in. They're going for, you know, they're going after unifier, ubiquity. They're totally going after them. Look, they're just trying to beat them on cost. You know, look, quality, pretty good, but you know, half the cost or even less. But yeah, TP-Link is doing some awesome stuff lately, for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. Super glad. Okay, yep, literally built into HDMI. It's called EDID. I don't know what EDID is. Yeah, no clue. EDID, what are you talking about? Built into HDMI. Indeed, it's one of the metrics I have available on my Grafana dashboard. Awesome. Also thinking of setting up Grafana to get some Home Assistant running again. Yeah, let me know how that works out for you guys. Like, you know, like I said, like I've done some Grafana stuff, but at the end of the day, whatever system you're trying to consume it from has to expose those metrics too. And I'm sure Home Assistant and these products do, but that may be kind of one of the pitfalls of getting it all on one dashboard, is that some system just might not expose the metrics. Like, I don't know if Pi-hole does. I mean, they might have an endpoint where you can consume metrics or a log file that you can consume and then pipe it in. But yeah, I'd be interested to know. But yeah, I think Grafana is super awesome. It's so awesome to look at too. And to be able to set up alerts too. I should be better about that. I have some services that are just for fun, but the way that, you know, I know they're down sometimes is because people tell me they're down, which is bad, which is so bad. But like, I don't have a great way of monitoring stuff. And so Grafana can do that for you too. Grafana has some monitoring built in. Takano also thinking of sending Grafana. Nice. I think I just said that. P4. That's so hard to say. I'm going to say P4 Noir. I'm going to say that. How about that? I came across virtualization and Docker some days ago because web dev for my shopware. At first I struggled with active Hyper-V and Vagrant VirtualBox, and I'm stuck to connect to Vagrant via remote SSH. Man, I haven't heard Vagrant in a while. That was like all the hotness. I think it still might be. It's just I haven't had to hear about it in a while. But Vagrant was nice because you could totally set up your whole entire like virtual machine for developers. And that was a lot of people were touting it because it was awesome. It was basically like, you know, configuring virtual machines for developers to use was like the holy grail, because then you just didn't have to like have them waste 2 days to set up a virtual, you know, to set up a machine to develop on, especially when they're new. Hanson Coding, thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. But yeah, tell me more about that. Tell me what you like about Vagrant and what you don't like. I sat next to a guy at a company I used to work at who loved it so much. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to configure my own dev machine. But that's just me. That's just me. Because I knew all the tools that I needed. And I love doing that too. There was something, I've always loved doing this was, you know, I've always loved, you know, imaging a machine or setting up a brand new machine. And being a developer, that's kind of tough. You know that like, hey, if I reformat my machine or re-image my machine, I'm going to lose a day and a half. And there's going to be like tools that I'm going to forget about and configs I'm going to forget about now that I'll need, you know, in 3 weeks. And that's really going to suck. But for me, I love it. I love it. If someone hand me a new machine, I'm just like, oh yeah, where do I start? Okay, let's go here. Let's start patching this. Let's grab this. Let's install these tools. I have all my scripts. And so I love it. And so Vagrant, I think, at least where I used to work, a buddy of mine was super into it because he could onboard developers super faster. And so he can say like, hey, you know, Vagrant up, I think is the term, and do a Vagrant up and have your whole entire dev environment spinning up and running. And then you wouldn't give a developer a machine that was like, you know, didn't have all the tools and environments configured for them. So yeah, I'd like to know more about that. And sorry, I totally nerded out on that for a little bit, but I haven't heard that in a while. And maybe you don't like it because you have to use it. Yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts a little bit about that. Gimli Theon, those were not my issues with displays though. I used a docking station for coding purposes, and I worked on a second vertical monitor. The drivers cause a kind of frame drop and lag on the vertical monitor, but when it was turned back, it was kind of okay. It really seemed like if the MacBook couldn't handle 2 1440p built-in displays. Hey, I got 3. I had 3 1440p displays at 100. Well, I can't run them at 144 hertz. I want to, but I can't because my dongle only supports, well, my dongle's HDMI, and I think HDMI only supports 60 hertz. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think DisplayPort is where you get the 144 hertz. So anyways, I have 3 1440p monitors right here. 1, 2, and there are 2 in portrait mode and 1 in landscape. But yeah, docking station adds a whole nother layer to it too, where Windows would probably be like, sure, let's do this. And Mac's just like, what is going on? You know? But Windows has always been super compatible with so many things. That's how they made their money, how they stay in business. So yeah, good to know, Gimli. Docking stations can be awesome. They're like an awesome idea, but yeah, I think the execution ends up being sadly on the software side, and it's like, how do they make the software work with the operating system sometime? Split second MC, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that helps. I hope it works with your motherboard. But like I said, pop the RAM in, go into your BIOS. Well, 1, if it turns on, hey, you're 99% of the way there. 2, go into your BIOS, check it, see if your RAM's clocked down. If it is, hey, that's not a big deal. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Running a little bit slower, probably never notice. Maybe on a initial load or initial quit of a game where it has to like dump that RAM or load that RAM. But other than that, I think it'll be fine. P4 Noir, pardon me. I'm on mobile, VirtualBox, and now but learning by doing is one of the best, and maybe I find it more ideas for usage of VMs. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. VirtualBox and now, but learning by doing is more best, is the best, and maybe I find more ideas for usage. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a learn by do. That's what I tell people. How do you learn best? I learn by do. That's kind of a play on words with like, so my grandma's Japanese, and so she used a lot of broken English, so she would kind of talk like that. Miss her, but yeah, I learn by do, totally. I don't learn by reading. I kind of learn by watching, and repetition, but the repetition involves doing. So I'm do something 3-4 times until, you know, I build up my muscle memory, and then I go from there. But yeah, good to know. DZ, hey Tim, how do you like your DOS keyboard? Do you have the Mac version? Yeah, good question. So I love my DOS keyboard. So I have a DOS keyboard. I have the 10 keyless. Oh gosh, this is gonna be dangerous. Oh yeah. So I have this, it's the DOS keyboard 10 keyless, so no numpad. I love it. Super heavy. I actually have 2 of them. And I bought 2 purposely because I wanted the same keyboard at work and at home, but now I have 2 of them for no reason because I'm working at home. But anyways, I love it. I did not buy the Mac version, and that's because like I use Windows. I'm on Windows now, and so I toggle back and forth Mac, Windows all day long. Well, half the day Mac, half the day Windows. Yeah, I love it. So I didn't buy the Windows version, but on Mac, the keys are switched. So you have to use this thing. My friend Max, he's awesome. He showed me this thing called Carabiner Elements, Carabiner on Mac, which lets you remap keys. And so all I do is say, hey, option is command, and command is option when I'm on Mac, and it's perfect. So yeah, I love it. You know, it's not like one of those awesome, super sexy ones like people have, the code keyboards and stuff like that, but this is just a nice, it's super solid mechanical keyboard, 10 keyless by DOS keyboard. And I love it. Brown switches, not too loud, and it's fantastic. And they were doing mechanical before mechanical was cool too. Well, I guess no, because like all the old companies were doing mechanical before mechanical was cool, and then they made a comeback. But anyways, they were one of the first to remake a mechanical keyboard, I think. But you know, because they've been around forever. And back then it was like, who's going to pay $100 for a keyboard, you know? And now it's just like people pay a lot more than $100 for a keyboard. But anyways, yeah, I like it. Thank you for asking. Hernani, hey Tim, warm welcome. I hope you're doing great tonight. Hey, thank you. I am doing great tonight. I feel good. I feel super energized. I was kind of low energy earlier today, but hopping on the stream, I just feel like I got hit by a jolt. So that's another reason why I like getting on stream, other than talking to you guys. I get totally like, it's like, I don't know. I just get a buzz from it. So I really appreciate it. Anyways, it wakes me up for sure. And I have to think a lot more. Like I write code and solve problems all day and have meetings. But this is a different kind of thinking, like thinking on your toes with comments and talking, and trying to remain coherent through all this is tough if you guys have ever done anything like this. But yeah, thank you. And now I'm rambling. But anyways, Hernan is my name. Okay, Hernan, gotcha. Hernan is my name. AI references artificial intelligence. Horrible nickname, I know. Yeah, no worries. Hernan, I will remember that. Thank you for telling me that. In Twitch, you can also modify your name. So you can obviously change your name, but you can also change your just the casing of your display name. So you could do capital H and capital A, capital I, or whatever you want to do, but I will remember it, Hernan, for sure. The AI is for artificial intelligence. Love it. EDID equals extended display identification data. All right. So this is what we were talking about, how like, how I was oversimplifying how easy it was to map, you know, displays to their configuration by serial number. The only reason why I know that is because Windows, like you can see like your display profiles and like your serial numbers in there. So I'm like, oh, that's how they're doing it. Like I didn't know, you know, monitors were reporting their serial numbers. And at SCCM, I think you can track assets that way too. So anyways, it was awesome. Takano, Pi-hole does have an API to get statistics, and they do a pretty good job. Awesome. Yeah, that's good to know. I know that on Heimdall, they expose an endpoint, so Heimdall can get, a high-level summary of some of the stuff going on. But yeah, good to know. That is awesome. Good for them too, for interoperability, because most people, they don't think about that type of thing when they're building digital products. They're like, yeah, we're just going to do our thing, and only when they're forced to build, an API for someone to get data out, do they actually do it? And most of the time, then it's for one of their other products, because one of their other products needs to get data out of that. So good for them. Good for Pi-hole. That's awesome. Gimli, have you ever heard from Laravel Valet? No, I haven't. I mean, I've heard that term thrown around before, only because it's so unique. But no, I haven't used it. Haven't even really heard. But I've heard that before, and I can't remember where. But yeah, no clue unless someone gives me a hint. But I haven't heard it before. Takano, they also have API calls to disable it, but it requires to be auth. Nice. Hands-on coding. Yeah, checking out all the other streamers in the same category. Nice. Have you heard of Gitpod? I have not heard of Gitpod. Tim, you're going to love it. Check it out. Learning by doing a project based learning aren't the same. Learning by doing and project-based learning aren't the same. Explain more what you mean by that. Because, I'd like to know. But no, I haven't heard of Gitpod. Probably involves Git. But I don't know what Gitpod is. Like to know. Do you guys generate different SSH key pairs to log in a different host, or do you guys just basically use the one across your same host? Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good question. I reuse some of mine, but it depends. Depends what the target system is. So I guess I don't use the same for all. That's my final answer. Home Lab new, MacBook Pro late 2K17, and it was Thunderbolt, yes, because 2K17 model only has two smaller Thunderbolt ports. Kind of depends on the environment, using SSH across my home LAN. Yep, I'm the same way. On work LAN, I use separate keys for different services. Yep. Totally agree. I find myself using the new, keys that can use hardware two-factor. So I've been generating a ton of SSH keys lately. Oh, I see. That's the spec. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the greatest. I do for different systems. I'm not going to say which, but I have things I do for personal, things I do for work, things I do for servers at home, things I do for remote servers. And so I kind of, it's a mix and match. That's for sure. Finding Line 4. Hi, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome. Hands-on coding, Techno Tim, DM or something if you ever get around to checking out Gitpod. I'm starting on streaming coding, and I'd love to pick your brain because I think you are going to love it. It's built on top of Docker and it solves all those awesome problems you mentioned. Developer environment stuff. Yeah, interesting. I mean, they're not problems to me. They're problems that, so one, like when I started saying it, I love getting a new machine. I love configuring stuff. I love updating my OS. I love new firmware. I love it the most. So for me, getting a new machine and configuring my development environment, I have zero problems doing it. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Finding a line. So I have no problems doing it at all, but I do know that, when I was on larger teams, one of the concerns from other lead developers there were like, hey, when I onboard a new developer, it sucks configuring all of our environments. It sucks setting up dev tools. It sucks doing this and that. And so, I think one of the biggest things we tried to do at the company I used to work for was like try to get our developers committing some code on day one. And most of the time we did, because, we'd give them, an easier thing to do. But a lot of the time it was just like half the days configuring your environment and getting permissions for stuff. So yeah, anything to make that easier for teams is awesome for sure. And Vagrant was the one I think that was gonna do it. Now you're saying Gitpod, which sounds interesting too. But yeah, for sure. But but again, I love doing it, so I have no problem doing it. But that's not that's not valued work, I guess I should say. Configuring environments all day long. Home Lab Menu, because you might need to install the display link drivers if it had a display link chip on it. Yeah, I had the display link drivers. You guys are troubleshooting stuff. Nice. Display link ruins everything. Gimli Theon, but still, it's what Tim's saying. Why is it so simple for Microsoft and so difficult for Apple? Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's, I guarantee that if I plugged in one of their $10,000, monitors, it would work fine. Any Apple product gonna work fine. It's just kind of like, it's like their backlog. Apple's products are at the top of the backlog. Non-Apple products are, underneath the line. And so, I get it. I get it. Apple's never been, Apple is super interoperable and compatible with their own stuff. I totally get it. I ran a company, you got to take care of yourself first. 100% agree. But, they're creating products for millions of people. And so, I don't know. I don't know. And so for Microsoft, they've always prided themselves on compatibility, even going back to, Windows, 95, which just celebrated its 25-year anniversary. Was it yesterday or something like that? They've always prided themselves on compatibility. That's what they were all about. And so Microsoft's always stuck to that. It's half the reason why 32-bit apps still exist in general, And they got rid of 16-bit, but yeah, I don't fault Apple for it, but at the same time, it's like, geez, you pay so much for, a MacBook or an Apple product, and then you want to just use a USB dongle because that's all you have to plug in a monitor, and when I shut it down, it's not remembering. But yeah, I tease and I kid, but Microsoft's had that figured out for a long time. And I think Apple's did too, but then they broke it in Catalina. I think they broke almost everything in Catalina. Now they're slowly starting to fix it. Let's see here. Well, I know something hugely ironic. Apple was involved with the development of Thunderbolt. Yeah, with Intel. Yeah, totally is. That's irony. Yeah. Well, without them, we couldn't even turn both external displays on. I don't think the issue is really Thunderbolt though. But fun fact, yes. Gitpod basically allows you to clone your Git repos, but run in a remote dev environment, basically VS Code in a browser with a configurable environment. That's awesome. So yeah, it's like when you run, exactly what you said, running VS Code over SSH on a remote environment. So, just like when you do code dot in VS Code, if you have it installed, it's going to install the VS Code server on that remote target and then serve it back to you over SSH. That's awesome. Yeah, I just explored Code Server too, which I thought was pretty awesome too. Different, but a really awesome way where you can configure a web-based dev environment. Not that a developer wants to work on a web page all day, but to get some lightweight work done, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I think that sounds super interesting especially for remote workers, like highly secured, code environments. Like that sounds really interesting and awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. I'll have to check it out some more for sure. Let's see here. Sounds like it works. This sounds a lot like it could go a long way towards solving your works on my machine type of issues. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That and CI. I think CI for in general has been like, having a CI environment that builds your code like independently of everyone else. It's usually inside of Docker containers has been like solved the works on my machine, because it doesn't work on the CI machine, it's not working anywhere, unless your CI machine's kind of janky or whatever. but yeah, I totally hear you on that. That does sound like it solves another problem with works on my machine, because it still happens between developers. Like, hey, I just ran this and it's not working, and then you're like, well, it works on my machine, what are you doing wrong? It always turns into that, kind of joking. Finding Lime, I need your advice. Well, I hope I can answer it. If not, there are a ton of people in here who may be able to too. Gimli Throne, Theon, yeah, it's my eyes are getting tired. Valet is a way to serve your projects in a very simple way. It's using Nginx and DNS mask. You make a folder, place your files in it, and go folder name.ext. Interesting. Serve your projects in a simple way. It's using Nginx and DNS mask. You make a folder, place your files in it. So is this like, is it replicating your files? I guess I'm not sure exactly what it would do, because why would you put an extension on your folder name, or it knows to do something with that? Does it make those files available other places? Because that sounds cool. Hands-on coding, learning by doing, in our case, is just typing everything and learning how to fix bugs in broken code. Project-based learning is learning by doing, but one of the problems some people have with it is not having the prerequisite knowledge in all methods, etc. They use to build that project. Technically, Gitpod uses a fork of VS Code because the latter isn't really open source. Cool. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, yeah, it just depends. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Like, I would like to see, yeah, I assume the use case is for bootstrapping developers' environments really easy and making it repeatable, I assume, is the biggest use case. Wait, so like project name domain LTD. All right, got to go, Tim. Thanks for the stream. Have a good one. Gimli Theon, thank you so much. Finding Lime. So I'm trying to buy me a PC. Should I get a pre-built or build it myself? My uncle told me to get a laptop, but he doesn't even know what an iPhone is. Yeah. So my advice is, here's the thing. Like, a couple of years ago, buying a pre-built meant that you were going to pay a premium. That's not so much true anymore. That's not really that true anymore. And so it just depends on your comfort level. Like, if you've ever built a PC before, buy parts and build one. Me personally, I custom built my PC. I think my second PC ever, I built myself. My first one, I didn't even open up. I had someone else put a network card into it because I was so scared of it. But once I saw him put in the network card, it was all over. So I built every single machine I've ever had since then. And for me, I like doing that. I like putting it together and making it exactly right, even though, 1 out of 10 times something's going to go wrong and not boot. But anyways, if you're comfortable with doing it, I'd say do it. If you're not comfortable with doing it, or you want to save time, or you want something wired really nice, or you want a warranty on the whole entire thing, not just individual parts, I'd say get a pre-built. Just depends on your comfort level. Because that's the cool thing I've seen about pre-builts lately, is like, yeah, you might pay $50, $60, $70 over what you would pay if you were to part it out individually and build it yourself. But you got to ask yourself, like, okay, if your time is money, how much would you charge an hour yourself to work on something? It might take 3-4 hours to put it all together and get it working. Or is your time worth $20 an hour? And then on top of that, what I've seen with pre-builts too is that, like, that company that pre-builts it will warranty the whole entire thing. And that's really awesome. And that's intriguing to me. Because now I feel like I can finally recommend getting a pre-built to some folks instead of like, yeah, just buy the parts, come on over, we'll build it. And I love doing that. But, now it's like with pre-builts, you get a warranty on the whole entire thing. So I don't know if it's 90 days, 1 year, whatever. That's awesome. Because now you don't have to, your fan goes bad. You don't have to go back to whoever you bought your, Cooler Master or whoever you bought your fan from and get that replaced. And then like, hey, the hard drive died. Okay, I bought that from Newegg. The RAM fried. I bought that from Amazon or whatever. No, the pre-built places warranty the whole thing. So that's my spiel on pre-builts. It's really going to be up to you and your comfort level. But I enjoy doing it personally. So hope that helps. I know I asked more questions than I probably answered, but hopefully those are the things you're thinking about as you go in trying to decide, should I build or should I buy? History code 97. Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So yeah, hope that helps. Let's see here. Gotta run, boss. Thank you. Hey, there's another one. A flight attendant party. Thank you, flight attendant party. I like that. What kind of party do flight attendants have? Thank you. Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Oh no, you set the extension. It's an alternative for MAMP XAMP. Okay. Hands-on coding. Yeah, that is the perfect use case, but it's also really awesome for streamers because you can share environments with your viewers and pair program remotely. Yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. Yeah, sounds like Vagrant, but like a lot easier because it's in Docker. But yeah, that's an awesome idea too. That's really cool because it's funny you say that because I do have some open source projects and I do a ton of stuff on YouTube where I actually write the documentation, create videos and stuff like that. So that sounds like a perfect use case if I'm like, here's the work. I'd probably build the Docker container for them and give it to them. But if it was a step-by-step like coding exercise, I could use something like that. Typically I use branches for that, but that doesn't solve the environment problem. So I'll create a repo, create a branch for each step of the way, step 1, step 2, step 3, and they check out each branch and can see it along the way. But this sounds a little bit easier than that. A lot less effort, probably. So yeah, good to know. Home Lab New, good point about the warranty. Thanks. That's what I've seen lately. But really, it's going to be up to you guys whether or not. If it's a pure gaming build and you don't need a laptop to take it with you, definitely go for a tower. Build yourself or pre-built. Yeah, what Tim said. yeah. Laptops. Don't get me wrong. I like laptops, but I don't know. Gaming on laptops, unless you're getting some super beefed up one, you're gonna have a subpar experience. And that's just me, And if you're primarily going to do gaming and it's mostly going to sit in the same spot, get a desktop. It's kind of how I feel about wired versus wireless keyboards, but I won't get on there. I won't get on that topic. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've tried gaming on PCs before and on laptops and, it works kind of okay. But if you're going to be gaming, you're going to want to plug in a nice monitor, right? So, okay, fold the monitor down, plug it in a monitor. Then you're probably not going to use the keyboard because you want a nice mechanical clicky keyboard, right? Then you want a sweet gaming mouse, so you're going to plug in a gaming mouse. And then it's okay, what part of the laptop are you using that needs to be a laptop, And meanwhile, it's optimized to stay cool, to thermal throttle, stay within a threshold, And then they can only fit, an okay video card in there too, compared to a desktop class video card. But anyways, I'm not knocking laptops at all. Use them all day long. But I might as well have a desktop now since we're all working from home. But anyway, not knocking them at all. They're great. But for gaming, they're okay. Rex Roof, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Where were we? Takano, like they say, if you build it, you are your own tech support. Yeah, good call. Yeah, for sure. And you'll learn a ton along the way. So I'm not, I've always told everyone to build them first, but I understand that some people haven't done it before and it can be, pretty daunting. But you watch enough YouTube videos and it's not as hard as it looks. And, it all boils down to a couple things. You get a case, you put a motherboard in, screw it down, you line things up, then, put in your CPU, thermal grease, put on your cooler, put your RAM in, power it on, make sure BIOS post, okay, we're good. Put in your hard drives, whatever they are, SATA or M.2. Put in your other hard drive for storage. Put in your video card, connect the power to the video card. Then you turn it on and you're done. I oversimplified it, but it's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. History code 97. Hello, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for the help. Hey, yeah, no problem finding Lime. I like I said before, I probably asked more questions than I answered, but yeah, I would, yeah, I think you've got some pretty good advice from everybody in here. Well, thank you. How's the stream? Hey, yeah, the stream's good. It's been, yeah, going strong for a little while now. Yeah, just sitting here chatting, talking about everything from code to hardware to, yeah, networking gear to Docker to Kubernetes to home lab services to self-hosting to everything. Hands on coding, LOF, Vagrant. I tried Docker. I tried that Docker for life, man. I hear you, man. I'm, yeah, I know, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Docker, yeah. I'm just saying that was like all the hotness where I used to work. And I was just like, don't want to really do my work inside of this virtual machine thing. I'm fine in configuring my own developer environment. But yeah, I hear you, man. I got to go soon, but what's your channel like overall? Yeah, it depends. So it depends. It's kind of like this. It just depends. It really depends on who's in the channel. So I also have a YouTube channel. I create a lot of videos on how to do awesome stuff at home. Usually projects you can accomplish with stuff you have on hand. Some of it includes, whatever, Docker, Kubernetes, home lab gear, servers, whatever. And so I create a lot of videos to help people do awesome things. And then so as, to supplement that, I also have a Twitch channel that, I don't know, I just hang out with people from a Discord server, people that came over from YouTube, answer a lot of questions, but really it's just a community channel where we talk about tech, kind of, sort of, and whatever comes up. Sometimes it's a little more structured. Lately, I've just keeping it open because I know a lot of people have a lot of things to either say or ask or just chat with other people. So it's over the last couple of weeks, the schedule's been pretty loose. It's a time slot and whatever happens then. So it's a lot of conversations. But yeah, glad you stopped in. Ticano, it's more like Legos. You really can't screw anything up. Yep, just don't force things in. Along with that, you have to understand how your computer works. Oh, just jumped on me. And you can upgrade very easily in the future. Totally agree. The hardest part is like, which way does the RAM go? It has a notch. It can only go one way. Don't force it. Other than that, things will beep if they're in wrong. Things will beep if they're not plugged in. It's pretty straightforward. They've made it, it really hasn't changed. At least from when I bought my first PC. Obviously there's different specs, slightly different slots, but like Takano mentioned, it's like Legos. Things fit a certain way, you plug it in, and for the most part it just works. So I agree. I think I'm going for a pre-build. Yes. Yeah. Hey, no shame in that game for sure. Like I was saying, a couple years ago, I would say build it yourself, but now with all these companies popping up that can do it for the same cost or less than you would pay for those same parts, plus get a warranty. Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue with that if you're not experienced or don't have the time. Yeah, for sure. Gaming desktop with Linux. Yeah. Man, when is that going to take off? I thought SteamOS was going to do it, but where do you think I should get it from? That's a good question. I don't have a recommendation on that, to be honest. I don't have a recommendation. I could spit out some names that I've heard of, but I don't have, any personal experience with these companies. Not that they're bad or wrong. It's just like, I'm not sure. But maybe someone here would know. So the iBuyPower guy on Twitter is awesome. He runs a whole entire company, but he does high-end gaming PCs that are really awesome, and he usually does them for a lot of different people. And he's full-time building custom gaming PCs, and it's awesome. But other than Twitter and everyone loves them, yeah, it's hard to know how they are as a company, but it seems awesome. Has anyone ever managed to virtualize Mac OS and Proxmox? No, I've heard some people doing whatever the release was before Catalina. I heard that kind of works. Only because the drivers, because Catalina doesn't support like any NVIDIA drivers and supports some AMD drivers. But man, yeah, it's tough. I used to a long time ago. It was kind of fun, but yeah, I haven't done it yet. I'm sure there's something out there, and but yeah, I don't know. It's a good question for sure. Home Avenue, also Tim, I meant to ask in the live stream and it ended up before I could. Do you have any advice for someone just entering career in tech? That's a tough question. Yeah, so it depends on what part of tech they're getting into. You know, that's a tough question because it's, you know, I've moved around and took on a bunch of different roles. And I've, you know, done everything from software engineering to infrastructure to you name it. I've done a lot of things in IT. I guess my best advice is just to kind of, I don't know, learn as much as you can about the topic you're going into. So, yeah, that doesn't mean just go out and go study algorithms and try to know everything about what you're getting into, but just kind of understand kind of the lay of the land. And then, at least for me, I wish advice someone would have given me when I got into IT is that not everyone knows everything. And so you might have people at companies who have been there forever and they seem like they know everything there is to know. But for the most part, like a lot of that comes with experience, or a lot of it is just localized, you know, knowledge that only pertains to that company or something like that. So I don't know. These are more of just like general, I guess, career kind of advice. But, you know, I don't know. That's tough. Like I said, I've switched companies before many, many times, but I always kind of prepared myself. But I had a background in IT. And I knew what I was applying for to get into the job. So that, you know, that's a tough one. You have to tell me more, like what area of tech, you know, are they straight out of college? Is it a career change? No experience, little experience, lots of experience. You know, those are all factors in that too. It's PyBomb. I have my data in InfluxDB and I can't seem to make it work with the data displays on Grafana. Yeah. Good luck. No. Well, Grafana should play well with InfluxDB. That's how the company I used to work for, they used it. Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to join our Discord and we can talk about it there too, for sure. I bought my pre-built from Main Gear. Those guys are solid. Hey, there you go. Good recommendation. Thank you. Because I like I said, my only experience is Twitter, you know, and people who have bought machines that work okay, but I haven't had any firsthand experience. Hey, there you go. Kuroikage-san. Konnichiwa. Or for you, it's Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu, Kuroikage-san. Good to see you. Yeah, DevOps. All right. DevOps. Love DevOps. That was so generic, but I do. I mean, like I said, I'm not a DevOps engineer, but I'm a software engineer, so I've worked close with DevOps people for a long time, and I love it because they're just like on a different level. But we meet in the middle, and I love it. Well, I'm supposed to asking somewhat generally, software development, DevOps, InfoSec, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, I wish I had better advice. I wish I would have came prepared. I wasn't prepared for that kind of question. But yeah. Do they already have the job? Are they getting the job, or they want to study for this type of job? I mean, it just has to be something that they want to do. I don't know where I found what helped me is really just I mean, they have to really be in it. You know, they really have to love technology. They have to love whatever they're doing, software development. If it's software development and they're new and just getting into the career, I highly recommend spinning up and doing some projects on their own and keeping it in GitHub and being able to show it and get it hosted somewhere. Gus Code, hey, how's it going? Thanks for the follow. Because for me, those are the types of things I think when I've interviewed for places, I think those are the things that set me apart from other candidates, was being able to show either an open source project I work on, a real product in the App Store or Android and iOS App Store, or a real website running that I self-host here, or a blog or something I can point to that may or may not relate to what I'm getting into, but just to show that, hey, here's the type of things that I like, here's the types of things that I do, here's the types of things that I can do on my own, and kind of show that you're a self-starter. So if they're getting into code, I highly recommend, if they're going to be a software engineer, I mean, the tests are hard. I'm not going to lie. Depending on which company you're going to, they're going to be hard. But at the same time, I think it's also nice to, if they're thinking about it or going to do it, it's just like start contributing to some open source project, write some kind of library, build something that they can show to say like, hey, here's the kind of things I work on outside of here. And here are the types of things that kind of set me apart. Because those are the types of things that people interviewing talk about in the hallway, like after the interview, or, at lunch, or when they have, the hey, let's huddle and talk about this candidate. Those are the kinds of things you talk about. I mean, yeah, you know what? He couldn't traverse the tree the greatest, but did you see that app he built? That's pretty awesome. Or, hey, I'm looking for keto recipes, and he's running a keto recipe website right now. You know what I mean? And so those are the kinds of things that I think, at least for me, being on both ends, being the interviewer and interviewee, that I think help set candidates apart. And I think those are the things that are kind of expected now too. It's not just like, how'd you do in school? And can you, traverse this tree, or rattle off all the data types? It's, what kinds of things are you doing, right now or in the past or outside of work too. And it's kind of stinks. It's like all this extra credit now is kind of the norm. But anyways, I digress. But hopefully those kinds of things helps. Those, like I said, those are the things that I've noticed that either interviewing someone or me interviewing for a position have set me or them apart from the rest. Is personal projects, for sure. Something you can point to and give them to look at, not only there in the interview, but later on. And then they can share it with other people too, outside of just like, here's a resume, forward it off an email and everyone look at it. I don't know, maybe I'm rambling, but okay, so wow, yeah, actually Apple now supports Mac virtualization. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, because the Apple server or something. You should Google it. Oh, really? Yeah, man, maybe I should. I thought Mac OS it could, but it was like super weird. And I'm not saying like the experience. I thought like licensing around it, because Mac server I thought you could, because yeah, Mac build servers. Even though like every data center has like a ton of Mac minis in them for their Mac build servers, but yeah. History code, never made a gaming desktop, but got a desktop in a university leftovers, and I added an SSD to it. Worst part is to find a spare Bay Caddy for a Dell Optiplex. Yeah, Optiplex, oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know Optiplex that well. Is that, yeah. I don't know, when things don't fit for me or I don't have an extra drive caddy, I start removing stuff. In my rack mount server, I removed the CD-ROM. I'm like, peace, there's my drive caddy right there. And I found this drive caddy that goes right where the CD-ROM was, the little thin laptop looking ones on server. So sometimes you got to get creative. I've also just like no caddy at all. It's an SSD. You can mount this thing upside down and to the left if you want. There's nothing moving in there, as long as it doesn't overheat. So I've gotten really creative with SSDs for sure. Some I've just like let them be where they're at. Dangling from a cord. Okay, the thing weighs like, a quarter of a pound, if that. And so it's not putting any stress on the wires, but yeah. Worked just a few hours, Azure. Okay, Azure exam, looking it over. They have an intro to Docker containers, which I've actually heard on your channels last time a week. Crazy world sometimes. Yeah, I'm really into, I really like Docker and Kubernetes. And a lot of that has to do with being a software engineer, because it gives me an easy way to deploy my code and maintain, the health of that service, super easy. And I finally figured a lot of stuff out, but I won't go too much into it because I'm starting to give hints about some of the content I have coming up. But yeah, it's awesome. I can do the same stuff I do at work now at home, vice versa. And that's always been, it's this weird cycle. Like at home, I figure out stuff that then I can apply to work. And at work, I get to learn about these awesome enterprise technologies that I can, kind of still down and then apply here at home. And so I can build, a smaller scale of what I have at work or in GCP and Google Cloud here at home. And it's awesome. Hold on, new. Don't fall into tutorial. Learning things makes you discover new tools, but it's important not to. It's important, but it's not important to master them all. Yeah. I totally agree. And the other thing I'd say about that too, because I create a lot of tutorials, is don't take those as as someone prescribing you architecture for sure. Learn to make your own decisions too. And if you veer from the path that they're saying, totally fine, as long as you have a reason to do so. So I am 100% there with you too. I agree with history. Be careful with the tutorial land. Yeah. The thing I watch when I interviews for people I've built things, show they built. Yeah, I totally agree. Me too. 100% agree. Exactly what Tim is saying now. Yeah. Kuroi Kage-san. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's, like I said, those are the things that, for me, stick to me. Like I can tell you, I won't say it out loud, but I can remember the types of projects that the people I interviewed in the past, what their passion projects were. I cannot tell you, maybe this is wrong, I can't tell you where they graduated from. I cannot tell you that. I can't remember. But I can tell you the app someone was building, or the website someone's building, or the service someone was thinking about building. Because those are the things that, at least for me, stick. And so yeah, so I encourage yourself to try to stand out as much as you can and try to be unique as much as you can. And that might be from just being a stellar developer. It could be that too. But I think there are a lot of people out there, so you got to think, how else can you stand out? And that's how it is for me. Buzz88, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully I'm not, I'm I don't know, awesome topics today for sure. Yeah, so this is probably a good place to end. But I just wanted to say, hey, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Another great stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone that followed. There were a lot of follows and a lot of subs in there. And thank you so much. And there's another one, Chris Drew. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Lots of follows, lots of conversation, lots of subscribers. I really appreciate it. And I feel like I always need to end the stream kind of saying this, is that like, man, you guys are awesome. Like seriously, like your time and your chat is enough. And so I really appreciate it, because, time is the most precious thing we all have. So spending time with me means like more than you would know. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to more. Sebi, hey, there are a lot of new names in here. Yeah, probably have some more Kubernetes coming too. Lots of awesome stuff coming in YouTube, and I have some ideas for live stream too. Gonna try to mix it up. We'll see how it goes. But again, it's always open for you guys to connect, because I know that we say this a lot, is that most of us don't know people who are interested in the same things we are. And I think that's that's a lot of the reason why I started this channel, is because I didn't know anyone else who's super interested in servers, into software, into self-hosting, into Docker, into Kubernetes, and that I could talk to. And so I think a lot of us feel that way in this channel. A lot of us feel that way in Discord. And so I want to keep the spirit of that too, and leave this channel open for you guys to talk about what you want to talk about too. Because I know that, I understand that you might not have anyone to talk to about this kind of stuff. I know that. That's been me my whole life. And so I want to make sure I keep that channel open for you guys. So I really appreciate it. So I won't veer too far from here, but I'd like to try different stuff in the future to keep you guys entertained too. So anyways, I'm rambling and I'm probably tearing up, but I mean it. Anyways, have a good night. I will be back on Thursday, 7 Central, and I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to continue the conversation in Discord, it's !Discord, or it's in the panels down below. So hey, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Have a good night. Take care. Peace.